Welcome back to Inside Politics, talking 2016 presidential politics today with Steve Gill and Larry Woods. Steve, you mentioned earlier that you thought the poll that MTSU had out that basically shows that Trump and Cruz here may not have measured the right way in terms of using registered voters, not likely voters. But do you think that's going to be the order on the Republican side, who's going to win here in the state?
I think when you get to Iowa, again, if Cruz wins, you come out of there with Trump and Cruz kind of being the leaders. You get to New Hampshire, Trump, Cruz, I think still do well there. Cruz has a great team in South Carolina. I think by the time we get to Tennessee, Trump and Cruz are going to be the main contender still standing, maybe Rubio. They all have good presence in Tennessee. They're all going to play pretty well in Tennessee. But Trump and Cruz are the ones that have the money to really play, and I think they're going to be the ones that are going to factor in. The problem with that poll is 600 registered voters statewide. You're looking at maybe 200, 250 Republican primary voters. Again, registered versus likely. You're not getting a real sense of what's really happening.
Larry, we haven't talked much about Jeb Bush in this race. His super PAC is the only one that's bought any TV time that I can find in Tennessee. Now, it doesn't start until next month. Is he even going to be in the race by that time for that super PAC to put those ads on the air?
Yes. And I don't disagree with Steve's analysis about who's going to carry Iowa and New Hampshire. And obviously that gives a whole lot of momentum to Trump and Cruz. But Jeb Bush has family history, family name, multi-millions through some of the super PACs, and therefore even as he limps along in single digits, he's got in his back pocket, they're going to be, over a third of the delegates would be super delegates at the RNC convention, something like that. I hadn't counted it up. And he's thinking, I'm going to get most of the super delegates if I can just stay alive. He doesn't have to finish first or second. He just has to keep the super delegates loyal to him. And therefore, if he can stay average, he stays in the race, even with no money, even with no substantial money.
But he spent $60–70 million and has not moved the dial out of single digits. When you look at the latest polls in Florida, he's in single digits in Florida where he was governor, and you've got Trump, Cruz, and Rubio all ahead of him, and that's killed him.
Looking ahead to down the road from the convention, and the convention's early this year, what are the chances, Steve, the Republicans, we come out of all this in May and we still don't have anybody that's got enough delegates to know they're going to win on the first ballot? Are we looking at a second ballot for the first time since 1952?
Things tend to sort out. And I think, again, if Trump wins Iowa, if he is able to hang on and win in Iowa, New Hampshire, he's doing real well in South Carolina. I think if he runs the table early, then I think that there's no way to stop him. I think the only way that he gets slowed down is if you see an Iowa win by Cruz. He may win in New Hampshire, but maybe be closer than they expect. And then you come to Super Tuesday, you come to see some of these places, and it may change. What's the interesting dynamic is you've had Jerry Falwell Jr. at Liberty University endorse him. You have Dr. Jeffries, one of the biggest pastors in Dallas, endorse him. The evangelical support is kind of tilting things in the Trump arena that I think was unexpected, and this guy's played a masterful game.
Larry, let's talk a little bit about Mayor Bloomberg in New York. He says spent $1 billion to at least explore the idea of doing third party. Now, there hasn't been a third party candidate who actually carried any electoral votes since George Wallace back in '68. Here comes that election again. What happens to you? Let's say something happens to Hillary Clinton. Is Bloomberg something that would be particularly enticing to Democrats?
Yes, in the sense that he's progressive liberal enough to appeal to a lot of Democrats. If Hillary does not get the nomination, and Bloomberg runs and is smart enough to select as his vice presidential candidate either Hillary Clinton or Elizabeth Warren, my next wife Sarah Lee says if something happens to her, okay, nothing's going to happen to her. If he was smart enough to take Senator Warren or Hillary Clinton as vice president, then he becomes a serious candidate. Otherwise, he's just going to be a historical footnote as a third-party candidate.
I think he should run as a third-party candidate because I think his anti-gun, pro-gay, pro-tax, anti-big gulp agenda is going to only pull those Democrats that will help divide their field and make a Trump maybe 50-state win or a Cruz 50-state win.
Steve, one last question on this. The Republicans have the majority of the state houses, the majority of the legislatures, both houses of Congress, but they haven't been able to get the White House. Are they still so undivided they still may not win the White House in 2016?
It's interesting. I looked at the numbers just the other day. When you look at Virginia, Colorado, New Hampshire, and Ohio, if Republicans had picked up 400,000 more votes in those four states last time, they would have won. electorally, they would have won. 400,000 votes in those 4 states. 17 million Christian evangelicals stayed home last time.
Not
If
gonna
evangelicals turn out, Republicans win.
Not going to happen. The Republicans got every vote they're ever going to get based on fear. They can't travel with fear and increase their voter base.
Okay, let's thank you both for coming in, Larry Woods and Steve Gill. I suspect we'll have you guys both back because this is a very interesting election.
Too much fun.
Even we're going back in the time machine to 1968. And thank you for joining us this week on Inside Politics. Hope you'll be back again for a future show. If you can't get enough politics in the meantime, go to the News Channel 5 website. You'll find my Capitol View commentary there. There's a commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back here next time. Goodbye.